Okay, so today we'll be talking about Proverbs chapter 29. And as you all know, if you've watched a couple of my videos, you know that we read the verses first. After that, we explain two verses which are very important or which we can learn something from. So I'll go right away. Proverbs chapter 29. It says, "He who is often reproved and harden his neck will suddenly be destroyed, and that without redeeming." Verse 9, it says, "When the righteous are in authority," verse 2 rather, "when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when a wicked man rules, the people groan." Verse 3, it says, "Whoever loves wisdom makes his father rejoice, but a companion of harlot wastes his wealth." Verse 9 says, "The king establishes the land by justice, but he who receives bribes overthrows it." Verse 5, "A man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his feet." Verse 6 says, "By transgression an evil man is snared, but the righteous sings and rejoice." Verse 7, "The righteous consider the cause of the poor, but the wicked does not understand such knowledge." I'll say it again. "The righteous considers the cause of the poor, and the wicked does not understand such knowledge." Verse 8, "Scoffers ensnare a city, but wise men turn away wrath." Verse 9, "If a wise man contends with a foolish man, whether the fool rages or laughs, there is no peace." There is no peace. Verse 10, "The bloodthirsty hate the blameless, but the just seek his well-being." Verse 11, "A fool vents all his feelings, but a wise man holds them back." Verse 12, "If a ruler pays attention to lies, all his servants become wicked." Verse 13, "The poor man and his oppressor have this in common: the Lord gives light to the eyes of both." Verse 14, "The king who judges the poor with truth, his throne will be established forever." Verse 15, "The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother." Verse 16, "When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases, but the righteous will see their fall." Verse 17, "Correct your son, and he will give you rest. Yes, he will give delight to your soul." Verse 18, "Where there is no revelation, the people cast off restraint, but happy is he who keeps the law." Verse 19, "A servant will not be corrected by mere words, for though he understands, he will not respond." Verse 20, "Do you see a man hasty in his words?" It says, "There's more hope for a fool than for him." Verse 21, "He who pampers his servant from childhood will have him as a son in the end." Verse 22, "An angry man stirs up strife, and a furious man abounds in transgression." Verse 23, "A man's pride will bring him low, but the humble in spirit will retain honor." Verse 24, "Whoever is a partner with a thief hates his own life. He swears to the truth, but reveals nothing." The fear of a man, that's in verse 25, "The fear of the man brings a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord shall be saved." Verse 26, "Many seek the ruler's favor, but justice for man comes from the Lord." Verse 27, "An unjust man is an abomination to the righteous, and he who is upright in the way is an abomination to the wicked." He who is upright in the way is an abomination to the wicked. This chapter has a lot, as I always say, this Bible has wise sayings, and Proverbs is one of the part that we get to hear more of the wise sayings, and it was written by Solomon. So I'll just take two verses, then we are done for today. Verse 7, it says, "The righteous considers the cause of the poor, but the wicked does not understand such knowledge." The righteous considers the cause of the poor, but the wicked does not understand such knowledge. Okay, this verse is telling us a lot. When you are a righteous person, you don't just go up and go to places and just judge people because they are poor, or say all manner of things because they are poor. You get to consider the cause of their poverty. Sometimes most of the time, people didn't grow in a very good place or a very good family. They grow in places where either there were wars, or either there was a broken home. The father is no longer with the mother, they have all separated. Some of them even didn't have anyone around them. Some of them fend for themselves. They went around looking for food. Some of them went around working as hard as they could, even though their pay was small, but they still tried to work, and the money they had, they used it for themselves. Some of them also um, found themselves in and out of prisons, even though they were not the one that committed those crimes. So we can't judge people because they are poor. No, we shouldn't judge them. We may not know what they went through to end up at that particular situation or at that particular state. So let's be careful. Let's be careful. But he says the wicked does not understand such knowledge. The wicked does not understand all those things. All those things the poor go through, they don't understand, because most of the time, or some of the time, they haven't gone through it before. I think when someone has gone through something and that person changes his life, that person gets to understand people who are going through the same thing he or she went through. But the wicked, most of them, they didn't go through that. Some of them had money, maybe inheritance. Some of them, they got the money as a result of lottery, doing bad things, and all those things. So they don't understand when someone is in poverty. They think that that person doesn't work, that person is lazy, but that's not always the case. That's not always the case. So let's be careful. Let us not judge people. Let us not judge people. Okay. The next verse I'd like us to talk about is in verse. I'm coming a bit. I'll talk about verse 18. It says, "Where there's no revelation, the people cast off restraint, but happy is he who keeps the law." Where there's no revelation, the people cut off restraint. Other verses will say, "Where there's no vision, the people perish." Okay. So where there's no revelation, I see when you don't have a vision for your life, or when you don't have a revelation for your life, you end up doing things that are meaningless. You end up living a life that is not leading to a fulfilled life, or you end up not living a purpose driven life, as requiring both a purpose driven life. You end up not having that kind of life. You just be walking aimlessly without a vision. You'll be walking aimlessly without a vision. But he who has a vision, he who has a revelation, he who knows where he is going and what he should do to get there, the sacrifices he should make to get to that destination, that person that person will do well. That person will be happy. Even though there may be struggles on the way, there may be problems and all these things on the way, that person will do well. That person will do well. And I like the last part. It says, "Happy is he who keeps the law." Happy is he who keeps the law. Happy is he who keeps the law. And you see, when someone keeps the law, that person is not doesn't end up in the bars or doesn't end up in the jail. When someone keeps the law, that person will not end up being arrested, or that person will not end up at the bad side of the law. Okay, so keep the law. Happy is such a person. You are there minding your own business, doing the thing that you are supposed to do, fulfilling your vision, knowing your purpose, and you are pursuing it each and every day, and making sure that you are doing the right thing. You are following the law, you are following the commandments, you are making sure that you are not killing anybody, you are not stealing from anyone. Every work you are doing is legal, and it's right, and it's good in the sight of God, in the sight of God. And yeah, that person will be a happy person, even though that person may have this times where things are hard, but at least that person is not in situations where the wicked find themselves in prison, or even well skilled. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video. See you tomorrow for Proverbs chapter 30.